Welcome to our channel, where we dive into the darkest corners of reality, where the shadows whisper secrets and the night itself holds its breath. We shine a light into the abyss, into the places where fear takes root. And tonight, we're venturing deep into the heart of darkness. Today, we bring you 3 very scary true horror stories that will send chills down your spine. Lock your doors, turn on the lights, and prepare yourself, because once you step into these stories, there's no turning back. Our first story takes us to the ruins of Cranbrook Mental Hospital, abandoned for decades, its crumbling walls holding the echoes of unspeakable suffering. The air itself feels heavy here, thick with the weight of thousands of lost minds. It's said that the patients never truly left, that their tormented souls still wander the decaying halls. And tonight, we meet a group of amateur ghost hunters drawn to Cranbrook by its sinister reputation. They hope to find proof of the paranormal, but what they found was far more terrifying.
As we entered the asylum, the energy shifted. Laughter turned to nervous whispers. The air grew colder. We started to hear things. Faint whispers in the darkness. Disembodied footsteps echoing through the empty corridors.
One investigator, a young woman named Sarah, starts to feel uneasy. She feels a cold hand on her shoulder, a ghostly presence breathing down her neck. Her camera malfunctions, the image flickering with static. Then they reach the hospital's infamous Ward D, where the most dangerous patients were housed. The energy here is suffocating, the air thick with dread.
It's in this room that my camera captured something that chilled us to the bone. A shadowy figure, tall and gaunt, standing at the end of the hall. Its eyes, 2 burning coals in the darkness, seemed to stare directly into my soul.
Terrified, the group flees. They run through the asylum, their blood pounding in their ears, desperate to escape the presence that haunts those halls. But the entity follows. Sarah, looking over her shoulder, sees the figure standing at the end of the corridor, watching them, and then it vanishes. The group eventually escapes the asylum, forever changed by their encounter. Sarah never recovers from the experience, the terror forever etched into her memory. To this day, she can still feel the icy touch of that ghostly hand, and she knows the patients of Cranbrook never truly left. Our next story takes us to a quiet cul-de-sac, an idyllic suburban home harboring a dark secret. The Harbinger family, new to the neighborhood, were excited to start their lives in their dream home. They had no idea the nightmare that awaited them. From the moment they moved in, things felt off. Doors slammed shut on their own. Disembodied whispers seemed to emanate from the walls. Strange, foul odours would appear and disappear without a trace. At first they dismissed these occurrences as their imaginations running wild, the stress of the move playing tricks on them, but as the days turned into weeks, the events grew increasingly disturbing.
I began having nightmares, vivid and terrifying visions of a malevolent entity that haunted our home. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, the feeling of icy dread clinging to me throughout the day.
His wife Mary started seeing things in the shadows, fleeting glimpses of figures lurking just beyond her peripheral vision. She felt a constant presence in the house, watching her, judging her.
I started talking to an imaginary friend, a sinister entity I called the Shadow Man. He told me secrets, whispered terrifying things in my ear. He told me to be afraid. Very afraid.
The family's once happy home had become a prison of fear, their lives consumed by the unseen forces that tormented them. John, desperate for answers, researched the history of the house, uncovering a dark and tragic past. The previous owners had vanished without a trace, their fate shrouded in mystery. Rumours swirled of murder-suicide, of a demonic presence that claimed the souls of those who dared to reside within its walls. As the Harbinger's sanity unraveled, They realized they were not alone in their home. They were trapped with something sinister, something ancient and evil that fed on their fear. They tried to escape, to outrun the darkness that had seeped into their lives. But it was too late. The entity had them in its grasp, its grip tightening with each passing moment. The harbingers, driven to the brink of madness, vanished from the house, leaving no trace. Their fate remains a chilling reminder that some houses hold secrets best left buried and some doors are better left unopened. Chapter 3. Lost in the Woods. Our final tale of terror takes us deep into the heart of Black Ridge Forest, a place where sunlight struggles to penetrate the dense canopy and shadows hold their breath. This is a place where people disappear, their stories ending abruptly, leaving behind only questions that linger like the mist that clings to the ancient trees. It was here on a crisp autumn afternoon that a young couple, Jake and Emily, embarked on a hiking trip, eager to capture the vibrant colours of fall foliage. Armed with a map, a compass, and a spirit of adventure, they ventured into the woods, unaware that they were stepping into a nightmare. As they hiked deeper into the woods, the light began to fade, the sun a distant memory behind the towering trees. The trail, once clear and well-marked, became faint, almost disappearing in places. They pressed on, their laughter replaced by an uneasy silence. The air grew heavy, thick with an unnatural stillness. The sounds of the forest seemed to vanish, replaced by an oppressive quiet that pressed in on them. It was as if the woods themselves were holding their breath. Then the compass malfunctioned, its needle spinning wildly. Disoriented and with a growing sense of dread, they tried to retrace their steps, but the forest seemed to shift around them, the paths they swore they had taken, leading them in circles. As darkness enveloped the forest, so too did the fear that gripped their hearts. They called out for help, their voices swallowed by the oppressive silence. The temperature plummeted, a bone-chilling cold seeping into their bones. It was then that they noticed the eyes, two glowing orbs, peering at them from the darkness, watching their every move. They froze, their blood turning to ice in their veins. A low growl echoed through the trees, sending shivers down their spines. They were not alone in the darkness. Panic surged through them. They stumbled back, desperate to escape the unseen presence that stalked them, but the eyes followed, their eerie glow intensifying. They ran, their lungs burning, their hearts pounding against their ribs, the sound of their own terror echoing in their ears. But the forest held them captive, its tangled undergrowth tripping them, its gnarled branches reaching out like skeletal fingers. Emily, glancing over her shoulder, saw a figure emerge from the trees, a tall, shadowy form that seemed to melt into the darkness. She screamed, her voice lost in the vastness of the forest. Then silence. Only the sound of the wind whispering through the trees, carrying with it the chilling reminder that some mysteries are never meant to be solved. The darkness holds many secrets, stories that chill us to the core, reminding us that the world is a strange and often terrifying place. If you enjoyed these terrifying tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling stories. Dive with us into the abyss, but be warned. Once you've peered into the darkness might just be peering back. Stay safe and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are true.